Welcome to Jurassic Park! So yeah, welcome to Jurassic. Now to the untrained eye, this looks like a midlife crisis. But it's actually a nervous breakdown, so I'm winning. That's just Godzilla. Copyright. We're talking about Exoprimal today. And we're going to be talking about various video game trends and how those trends can negatively impact a game, even if a game's really good. Exoprimal is a fantastic example. Exoprimal is like if Earth Defense Force tried to be Overwatch with dinosaurs and turned out far better than it had any right to be. And with that opening sentence, I have done more to successfully market Exoprimal than Capcom's own marketing. And I didn't need a budget of tens of millions of bucks to do it. I just needed to explain what Exoprimal actually is, once you shove aside all of the things Exoprimal tries to look like. Game's brilliant, mate. It's deliciously stupid, immensely fun, and consistently rewarding. An online competitive co-op shooter-slasher with a strong arcade style, Exoprimal sees two teams of mech-suit-wearing exo-fighters blast their way through swarms of dinosaurs in a race to complete their objectives. Hordes of velociraptors swarm across the environment with single-minded hostility like the zombies from World War Z, while bigger beasts like Dilophosauruses, Triceratopses, and Carnotauruses toss players around like the dickheads they are. Stupid fucking dickhead. It's all very EDF. Unless you're a melee character, in which it's all very Dynasty Warriors. And when one of your team temporarily controls their own huge dinosaur to harass the opposition, it's all very Left 4 Dead. But players pilot robots categorized by assault, tank, and support roles with unique fighting styles and cooldown abilities, so it's all very Overwatch. Basically, it's all very. It's a horde shooter by way of a hack and slash, by way of a different horde shooter, by way of a hero shooter. Sure, none of these individual components are new, but together they create a one-of-a-kind train wreck that I fucking love. But when I first started the game, I expected it to be complete shit, because that's exactly what it wanted me to think. It's a uniquely quirky game wearing the mask of a generic live service bandwagon humper. Well, actually, you see, that might be a simplification of what's going on. The game's generic elements aren't so much a mask as a skeleton that informs a mask. What I mean by that, and good lord, I hope this metaphor doesn't get away from me any more than it has, is that Exoprimal, for all that makes it unique, is built on a codified
live service
structure, following overdone, mediocre mainstream trends like it's an obligation, which, let's face it, these days, it more than likely is. Layered over this off-putting foundation of stereotypes, a delightfully unique game has been built, but it's hard to tell at first because it cuts such an uninspiring figure. Exoprimal is fresh meat on creaky old bones. There it is. We took the long fucking way round, but we arrived at a metaphor that works. Sort of. Now that I've truly put the amble in preamble, let's examine the ways in which Exoprimal looks like a fuck and quacks like a fuck without being a fuck. Exoprimal didn't have a collitting chance. Not when it came to making a good first impression. For some fuck-forsaken reason, Capcom decided the best way to promote its creative car crash of conventional concepts was to emulate Evolve's embarrassing marketing strategy of detailing all the ways in which the game will pry open your wallet rather than all the ways in which it'll entertain you. I've talked about Exoprimal on social media and reviewed it on the Jimquisition.com, and among the responses I've seen have been people saying they were immediately turned off by how much the game's advertising pushed the additional paid content. As we shall learn through this video, that paid content is very much at the bedrock of this title's problem. Capcom's pushing of in-app purchases combined with the footage of dinosaurs being shot made the Evolve comparisons inevitable. And, you don't want that. Evolve, Take-Two's disastrous failure of a live service, famously advertised pre-order bonuses and premium content before we'd even seen the first screenshot of the game. It was like a disgusting parody of just how vulgar, desperate and undignified a AAA video game could be. And the title itself, so stuffed with DLC it could hardly walk, collapsed in a humiliating heap with stunning swiftness. Basically, if you're making an online multiplayer game, Evolve is one of the absolute last bloody things you want your prospective audience to think about. That's the foot Exoprimal started off on. The first domino in a chain shaped like a freshly coiled turd. On its own, this may seem like a little thing, but let me tell you what I've come to consider a massive red flag in any new video game. Fucking console cursors. Ever since Destiny popularised the concept, and why it's popular I do not fucking know, online-focused live service games have insisted on replacing traditional button selection on console with a vagining cursor that's steered around with the analog stick. It's supposed to emulate a mouse pointer, I guess, except it's slow, it's inaccurate, and it's quite frankly cuntish. I've seen it suggested that it's a corner cut for porting games to and from PC. And I'm not sure if that annoys me more or less, but either way, I'm fucking annoyed. Simply pressing up and down on the controller to select a menu option is like 1 billion times quicker than using it to drag a cock-punching icon towards a shit-crowning box. Yet games insist on doing it now. Consequently, when a game pulls this bollocks, I inevitably think about Destiny. And I hate doing that because Destiny was fucking shit. Now, I'm a notorious critic of games inconveniencing their players, especially when it's for stupid, pointless, and/or trendy reasons. I don't like having my time wasted, and compulsory console cursors are an egregious, awful, bloody insulting disrespect of my time. Time I could be spending training up for my match against Kid Bandit in Leeds on August 26th. Oh my yes. When you think of the games that have done the console cursor thing, Destiny, Anthem, Marvel's Avengers, and similar hackneyed live services, you see a pattern of trash that's hard to divorce from any game that follows suit, much less a game quite openly positioned to be one such persistently online experience. The moment I started dragging a cursor around on my PS5 version of Exoprimal, I couldn't help rolling my friggin' eyes. The warning signs don't stop there. Immediately, new players will find that there's only one gameplay mode, immediately bringing to mind one of the more distasteful trends in the market today: the squirting out of blatantly unfinished, feature-poor games just to start making money off them before actually finishing the things, if the people who bought them are lucky. Far too many times have we seen games sold as complete products despite being released in glorified early access states with a roadmap of promised updates that aren't actually guaranteed to ever manifest. A live service roadmap is just a promise waiting to be broken. Now, Exoprimal both subverts this situation and plays it straight. Its Dino Survival mode is a little more nuanced than first it seems, as it offers matches that lead either to PvP or PvE finales, the latter of which contain story missions that actually unlock new dinosaurs and alter the game a little going forward. It's an interesting concept, albeit a poorly handled one. The game's nonsensical story is awkwardly paced as a result of its random appearance in online matchups, and PvE missions feature incredibly long cutscenes where nothing really happens, and they cannot be skipped because Capcom assumes at least one player's seeing it for the first time. Now, I've played a lot of Exoprimal. A lot. I've seen these cutscenes. Lengthy enough for unhurried toilet breaks about a dozen times a piece. It's a goddamn baffling way to deliver a story. It's interesting though, I'll give it that. I can see what Capcom was going for, even if it doesn't work fantastically, but I wonder how many others would see it before writing Exoprimal off as just one game mode played over and over again without variation, since the game buries its content twists so well. So yeah, subversive. But also played straight, because even despite this, Exoprimal still offers little in terms of variety and is stringing players along with the promise of more to come. In fact, I almost burst out laughing at the sheer triple anus of it all when I encountered and beat the final boss during Dino Survival and got rewarded with a brand new gameplay mode.
Savage Gauntlet.
A series of excitable pop-up windows talked me through what sounded like a genuinely cool Horde mode style experience before the final window dropped the fucking hammer and said it wasn't in the fucking game yet. Exoprimal was just cock-teasing you. It's fucking funny, but it's also fucking typical. I said triple anus. So, it's like 3 bumholes. Gimme, 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 gimme.
You can have it back. You promise not to fire it at me again.
I'm not going to fire it at you again. Can I have my dinosaur's missile, please? Historically accurate missile. Thank you. Brilliant. There. Oh, shit. This vibrates. Yeah, that's going immediately on the cock. Nice. Our previous points all feed into Exoprimal's self-sabotaging presentation, but the foundation soaked into its progression and gameplay rewards really undermines this game's originality, and it's also thrown into sharp relief for me a major issue with modern mainstream games overall. They've become so similarly structured that no matter how their actual gameplay might vary, the way these productions feel overall is becoming a near identical experience. They may be different mechanically, but behaviourally, they're the same. Is this a bad time to admit that I find Nimbus kind of hot? No, that is a bad time to admit. I don't, actually. No. It's just a robot. I mean, RC was a robot, and she looks a bit like RC, and RC was hot. But no, RC wasn't hot. It's just a robot. Robots aren't hot. Sorry, this is inappropriate. I shouldn't be talking about finding Nimbus hot in the middle of a video. I should be talking about finding Skywave hot in the middle of a video. Robo Dummy Mommy.
Why don't you show me a good time?
Oh, I'll tell you what, Deadeye's got a hell of an arse on him as well. One glance at Exoprimal's cosmetic rewards says it all. A range of unlockable skins for each character and their weapons, categorized by a rarity system containing common, uncommon, rare, and epic tiers. Common is the default skin, uncommons are simplistic recolors, rares are more lavish redecos with some texture changes, and epics are full-on alternate costumes. Sound familiar? You'll have seen it in about a dozen live service games if you've seen any given dozen live service games. Don't worry, there's another suite of less coveted but similarly obligatory cosmetics. We didn't forget those. Obviously there are emotes. You gotta have emotes, right? Fortnite has them, so this must have them. And what game would be complete these days without little dangly bits of shit that hang off your ass? It's classic. It's compulsory. And of course, you gotta stuff your game with utterly meaningless junk items in a contrived attempt to make the other stuff look more valuable and water down the reward pool. Overwatch's sprays are such good rewards, aren't they? I love sprays. Totally not filler at best and manipulative disappointments making players feel just shortchanged enough to keep playing for the endorphin rush of better rewards at worst. Blizzard's a cunt! All that is to say, how about the decals? Oh, and stamps. You know, because fuck you. It's a cosmetic system blueprinted by the aforementioned Fortnite and Overwatch, followed faithfully by countless games since with only slight variations on the same basic content offerings. And hey, it works. You know, those epic skins do create an endorphin rush, and as someone who has argued for years that cosmetics do affect gameplay because they enhance your enjoyment of a game, I love unlocking new costumes, I do. But the fact all these games are doing it the exact same way now is just kinda sad, unimaginative. It feels soulless. It makes a whole game feel soulless. It makes Exoprimal feel soulless, even though it literally isn't, and I resisted the title's charms for far longer than I might have done as a result. I mean, its metaphorical charms, not the charms it sells as cosmetics. Of course, cosmetics lie at the heart of Exoprimal's shameless monetization, by far its most repelling element. Capcom has draped this poor game in the familiar vestments of corporately mandated avarice, starting of course with the obligatory battle pass that has tastelessly insinuated itself into modern gaming. Thank you so fucking much, Fortnite, for popularizing that shady little scheme to where it's as saturated as I predicted it'd be years ago. Epic's a cunt! I detail Exoprimal's battle pass for you, but do I even need to? If you've seen one of these things, you've really seen them all. So many games have them now, and they are all literally the same goddamn crap. Premium cosmetics are spread throughout the rest of the cosmetics, forever tantalizing you with their offerings. Those said offerings are admittedly crap in this game's case. Premium content is available in a bunch of packs, because of course they are, you gotta have packs. Packs upon packs. How about the decals? Packs and decals and charms and packs and skins and decals and packs. And how about the decals and packs and weapon skins and loot and rare and battle passes and epic and battle passes and packs and epic. And how about the decals and packs and charms and weapon skins and skins and skins and skins and packs and decals and decals. Decals, how about the decals? Oh, I sounded a bit like that elephant at the end of Adventure Time just then. I don't anymore, I don't know what this voice is. Oh, and there's some fast-track purchases too. You can buy early unlocks for a few of the exo suits with exclusive skins to boot. Oh, disclosure by the way, I impulsively bought the deluxe edition of this game because I am a whore. I mean, a consumer whore, but also just a regular type whore. Anyway, that's how I've got the battle pass and skins and that. You know, because I'm impulsive and I don't think through my purchases sometimes, and I'm a whore. Oh, and here's the sweetest plum. Exoprimal has loot boxes. Hooray. Exoprimal's sheer avalanche of add-ons is overwhelming to the point of alienation, and folks have told me it made them steer well clear of it, and I don't blame them. I mean, it looks immediately like a bunch of microtransaction-laden predatory pigwank, don't it? So much so that, despite how much I love playing this game, I had immediately disqualified it from consideration as a candidate for my Game of the Year awards due to my long-running stance against awarding games with microtransactions in them. But here's the thing, despite this game's behaviour, there are no microtransactions in Exoprimal. There's only one currency, Bitcoins, provided solely in-game and awarded at such a rate it ain't particularly grindy. The loot boxes? You don't pay for them. They're completely disconnected from purchasable cosmetics. I at least expected them to be several steps removed as part of a deceptive smokescreen like loot boxes are in Resident Evil Resistance. Yeah, I remember the shit Capcom pulled there, but it's not pulling it here. They're not even given as rewards in the battle pass. I had to double check that because I couldn't believe it, but I don't see them listed. They're just given to the player as they level up normally. Exoprimal does such a good job of mimicking those exploitative ableist digital economies masquerading as video games that it itself was mistaken for one by this silly bitch who's been playing it to death. Now that does not make the monetization that does exist in Exoprimal okay. It might be better than its contemporaries, but better and good are two entirely different qualities. Battle passes are gross little concepts. The small mountain of cosmetic packs should embarrass any developer with a sense of shame, and I'm uncomfortable with the presence of loot boxes in games even if they aren't paid for, because the entire concept is just trouble. Plus, of course, any of the stuff that's in this game could get worse. Publishers have proven time and time again that they're perfectly willing to hide their fangs and bare them once they get a foot in the door. This monetization is tacky awful shite, but it feels worse than it actually is, because Exoprimal, as it does in so many ways, is doing such a good impersonation of the worst in the business. And that's this game's biggest problem, as it will be for so many more games in future regardless of their actual quality or uniqueness. Because these titles are always built in a major way to tick boxes on the publisher's cynical spreadsheets, they're expected to do certain things even if those things follow such overbearingly formulaic structures that they can take an original, inventive, worthwhile game and twist its appearance to resemble that of a mediocre also-ran. Now it looks as if Exoprimal has kept its head above water despite being lashed to the anchor of live service checkboxes. So it doesn't look like it's turned people off to the point of being an immediate disaster like Evolve, Anthem or Battleborn, God rest that game's unfairly maligned soul. I hope this is the case, and if so I hope it stays the case. I love Exoprimal. Like, I really love Exoprimal. And I think it's a shame I've seen so many people write it off as a mundane service game in a market stuffed to the brim with mundane service games. Who can blame them though? That's exactly how Exoprimal behaves in spite of what it really is. It's EDF Dynasty Warriors, Left 4 Dead, Overwatch, World War Z. The fact it never occurred to Capcom to sell Exoprimal on that merit speaks to how truly fucked up this industry's become. Hi, do you live in Tut North? Are you going to be bored this coming Sunday? Well, I'll be putting the udders in Huddersfield when I debut with Tidal Wrestling. That's this coming Sunday, sunny Huddersfield, Tidal Wrestling. Come on, it'll be good, it'll be good. Simon Miller will be there. You like him. Yeah, okay. So, that was today's episode on Exoprimal. I hope you liked it. I actually really enjoyed this episode. It's very similar to the Street Fighter 6 one, where I just got to talk about something I really liked, albeit, in this case, something I was very critical of. Now, obviously, games following the leader are nothing new. In the 90s, we had dozens and dozens of mascot platformers. In the 2000s, dozens and dozens of brown military shooters. But I think it's a little bit more noticeable here, because, well, all those games, mechanically, were also sort of identical, whereas a game like Exoprimal, mechanically, yeah, it cribs from a lot of other games, but it blends them in a way that's unique to itself. This isn't like the MMO craze, where everyone sort of ruined the genre by all trying to be World of Warcraft. Actually, no, that's quite similar, because MMOs were a lot of different things. They weren't all just World of Warcraft, but when WoW came out, everything wanted to be WoW, and it kind of did that trend setting, the variety and diversity of that genre. Actually, that's an entirely different episode. I'm going to make a note of that. Anyway, back to Exoprimal. Fucking brilliant. Fucking shame. I really do believe that we're going to see more games like this, and as I said, unlike with, say, the Call of Duty rip-offs of the 2000s, because we are getting colourful, diverse, interesting games that are following this routine trend of monetization and cosmetics and unlocks. We're going to have a lot of, I think, potentially really good games that look like shit. And not in a good way, not in like a focus entertainment way, just in a shit way. Thank God for me.
No.
Doesn't have fine.
No.
Put it back on. Yeah. Right, they're coming to get you, Barbara. Night of the Living Dead reference. Right, look. They're after you. Go on. Get him. Get him. Go, my army of the night. Actually, that one was quite expensive.